now listening to the Sneaker Box.
Oh shit alert, Louis clothes, call it when existence, Louboutins and Gucci shows. Well, I guess that goes my
Yo, what's up? Detroit is definitely in the building via your headphones, stereo, and speakers. Of course, this is your man, the African Caesar. This is the Sneaker Box Show, and I got half of the crew right here. I got the contrarian of the show, Geeno.
Yo.
I think Guru's supposed to join us later on, and then JumpmanBostic is out somewhere by Infusions. It was like a shock drop of Fusions.
You sure he didn't find some Yeezys?
That's probably where he is. That's secretly. He used Fusions as the cover.
It's the metamorphosis turned into BoostmanBostic is happening today.
It's like watching Anakin turn into Darth.
Yeah.
It's like his eyes start turning red.
I don't know. I feel like him turning to Boostman would be him coming to the light.
Would it be?
Maybe.
No, I feel like that's the dark alternate version of JumpmanBostic.
I don't know. I think
it's like Goku and Goku Black, and it's like
but I feel like
it's JumpmanBostic and BoostmanBostic.
But how do we know JumpmanBostic isn't like Vegeta coming to take over Earth, and then slowly as he matures, he turns.
I mean, Darth did turn good. He so did sacrifice himself and what?
So basically, when JB's son says that he wants to wear some Yeezys, that's when he's gonna. That's when that metamorphosis, he's gonna turn good again.
I don't know, but I do remember, started talking in Slytherin. Now we're just crossing over movies now. We went from Star Wars to Dragon Ball Z, not a Harry Potter, but
as long as it's not that live action Dragon Ball movie.
He sucks! Hey!
I don't know. I try. You know what? I did a good job for the last few years forgetting that movie ever happened, but thank you for reminding me.
My bad.
That was. We're gonna get in the sneakers, I promise. But goddamn, that was a horrible movie.
You suck!
That was a trash ass movie.
Let me ask you this: which was worse? It's funny, I haven't seen this movie or the other movie I'm about to name. That or the Speed Racer live action.
I've never seen Speed Racer, and for good reason. I've never seen either one of the movies.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure I was
for
in the
good
same
reason,
boat.
right? Like the trailers are supposed to make you want to see the movie.
It made me dislike the movie.
Yeah, the movie made me hate life. Like I was just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah,
I'm like Shaq. Like whoever's paying you to do this, I'll pay you double to stop it. Why are we doing?
I just wanted
the
to make
Speed
sure.
Racer one was so horrible because I remember from the trailers. I just knew some movies you just know this is gonna be ass.
Not everything is meant. That it was a cartoon is meant to be live
exactly,
action.
man. Let's come up with something new. All these, let's make this IP into a real thing.
Yeah,
it didn't translate well. Speaking of movies, real quick, I swear we're gonna get the sneakers. Like I was tempted to go see the Snow White movie. Only because I just wanted to see what the hoopla was. Like I just didn't understand why people hated that movie so bad.
Yeah, what was the hate about?
I don't know.
I really don't.
Like to this day, I don't know. Like I seen a whole bunch of think pieces, and it was strange to me because it was just kind of like my daughter is 15 going on 16. She didn't even want to see it, right? Which, okay, like she's a teenager. I didn't expect it. But I see like a bunch of angry middle-aged men mad about it, and I don't get it.
People, calm down. Standing out here yelling rabble, rabble, rabble isn't going to help anything.
But we don't know what else to do, Mayor.
Because I'm like, it wasn't made for you. That would be like me being like, what's that movie that came out a couple years ago? My sister used to watch the cartoon when she was a kid. It used to come on before He-Man. Jim. It was a horrible movie too. They like once again, it was them taking a cartoon and making it into a movie.
What, like Sonic?
No, it was like this girl rock group. That's how bad the movie was. Like it's like lost on everybody's
They did
memory.
a Josie and the Pussycats doll?
Let's just go with that. Let's go with that because Jim. It was Jim. That would be like me being mad, like, oh my God, Jim, that movie, word. It was like that movie, that cartoon wasn't for me. The movie most definitely not gonna be for me. Why am I like? I don't understand why. Like, even when we was talking about Space Jam a few years ago, I didn't understand the hate. It's a kid's movie. So for an adult to be that wound up about a kid.
Yeah,
I do not understand. Like,
I mean,
yo,
I'll say this: it's
if it was
okay
a John Wick movie, all right, cool, because that's for me. Why? Why?
I'm not mad.
Yeah. Why they mad? That was it. That still doesn't make me understand. Like, why?
It wasn't that bad.
Why? Even if I heard that, I'm like, okay.
Well, I
understand.
guess to be fair, that just proves how divisive, like the
Words
thought
are?
process, how society is now.
Bruh.
How just little things trigger people that probably like that's. I
You know
agree,
what I
like,
think
that
of?
would that does. Why would you be offended by that?
You know what I think of when I wake up? What I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna watch, shit like that, right? Like I cannot imagine waking up feeling like fucking Snow White, fucking bitch
She
on a
wants
red
to be a
carpet.
strong woman.
Right? What does she mean? This is not the 30s.
Smart ass motherfucker.
Damn, they pissed everybody off.
Listen, I swear to God, like I don't know if it's just me, but I look for things to laugh at as opposed to things
You know
to be
what?
mad about.
I'm just waiting now. So the only thing that's missing now is the prince. He's got to be a minority.
Shit.
I'm surprised. Oh my God! Can you imagine if the prince was black? Oh my God! People would have hung themselves. They would have jumped off.
Now
Of every building.
now I do want to watch the
I
movie
kind of
because
want to
I
make
want
my own Snow White just to piss people off even more now.
Well, I want to watch the movie now because I want to see everything in there, just so I can point out the different things that would piss people off.
I'm gonna make my own Snow White movie where she is white blonde hair, and I'm gonna find like
Or it should be Snow
the
Black.
darkest black man to be the prince.
Should be Snow Black. Snow Black.
Yeah, they. I'm gonna get like it's just to me it was just like bizarre and like it made me want to go see the movie to see what everybody's mad about.
Now I really want to. I actually
Like
do
just to
wanna
see,
it
I was
now.
like maybe I'm missing it because I couldn't. Once again, I'm like Snow White. You're 50. That's a girl's cartoon. Like, why are you that mad about it?
Yeah, like I've never seen the Disney movie
didn't
to begin
understand
with.
it. I
Like
really-
so.
I just thought, like I said, if it was like a John Wick movie where it's like, okay, that's obviously geared towards, all right, cool. Like, okay, bitch away. I don't give a fuck. You know, I kind of like, even with the Superman movie, which I'm kind of like, I swear we get the sneakers. Like, even with the Superman movie,
Superman wears sneakers.
yeah, he does. There's Shaq.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
6 degrees.
The real Superman too, not Dwight Howard.
My bad, Dwight Howard. That's the real, Dwight Howard is the real Superman. If Shaq is watching this, he is punching the air right now. But no, like even with the Superman movie, I found myself being annoyed even with the like the movie ain't even come out yet, bro. Like, can we at least see the movie first before we start saying it and shit?
Well, people are already shitting on it.
And I'll be the first to tell you, I wasn't all that excited for it. Only because here's why: when they put out the first pictures, one, his suit looked like he's wearing like a Carhartt suit, right? Like it looks like he's wearing a Carhartt jacket with a cape.
Superman from Detroit.
Shit.
That would be interesting. That might be the twist, right? But then two, like, and I gotta say this,
The GM,
and I know this is once again this
The
is a
GM
sneaker
building
show.
is the Fortress of Solitude.
It might as well be. They about
Yeah.
to empty out
Exactly.
pretty soon, yeah.
See?
No, I was gonna say, and I don't know what side you're on or which side you guys on. It was one of those things that when it happened, going back to it makes zero sense to me. The fucking red trunks.
Gay.
That shit is fucking stupid to me. I don't understand why we went back to that. Because like when they took it, I remember people were bitching about it when Henry Cavill they revealed his suit. And it made sense to me because I'm like, why would people wear their drawers on the outside? It makes no sense. Why?
Yeah,
is the
but
light not
didn't
on?
but
I
didn't
just
the,
noticed the light's not on. Is that okay? Okay.
but didn't the original comic Superman, he had the red trunks on, right?
That's the original. Okay. Name me one.
Well,
hold on. Name me one character, original costume that we still hold that to. Batman, Captain America, Wolverine. None of them. Can you imagine Wolverine and Deadpool versus Wolverine wearing the trunks?
Get him out of here. Get him out.
It would look dumb as fuck. Because why? Why would you do that? It doesn't serve a purpose.
No, I agree.
It looks so. Yeah, it was acceptable in whenever Bob was born because, huh? Yeah, now it does. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was cool in the 60s.
Batman looks funny as hell.
Yeah, no, yeah, like you got to be high as fuck to enjoy that. But but you know what? I gotta say that sitcom is one of those things where it's so bad it's good. Like I enjoy it because of how bad it is.
What, Adam West?
Yes,
Batman.
it's so bad, but it's
hilarious.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, I laugh my ass off watching it, but no, but I'm like, obviously the costumes were born out of the strongman era, and so that's why they had the trunks and shit. But in 2025, that shit looks fucking stupid. Makes zero sense. No other character.
And this is your rant, or you?
Yeah, I just had to get off my chest because
okay.
I doubt I get invited to any other comic podcast to vent like this. I'm gonna do it on my own podcast. That shit is fucking stupid. So if I had one gripe, it would be that. But even still, I'm still gonna go see the movie and give it a chance. Like my beef with the costume isn't enough to deter me from seeing the movie. But
I mean, the only thing I got to say about the movie is, are we picking up from the story of the DC universe, the Justice League movie? Like, or are we retelling the Superman story for about the 15th time?
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's
you know what my fear is though. Just from the trailer, it looks like they're trying to do too much. Like they're shoehorning a lot of characters in that movie. I'm just kind of like,
yeah. See, exactly. I like, yeah.
No, that's bullshit.
That's why he's got on his red trunks.
God damn it! So now, no, because now Bob. Now I got beef with that shit. So here's my problem with all of this shit, right? The Henry Cavill, because they were emo Superman. Okay. He was
a really good Superman.
And I got where, what was it, Zack Snyder? Right? I got where he was going with that, because if a real Superman from another planet came here, motherfuckers would not be excited and happy. They would be acting exactly how they were in that movie. Scared, suspicious,
There's an
nervous.
alien.
That's what I'm saying. That's more powerful than everybody, right? We have nothing to stop this guy on the planet. There's no weapons. There's not a person. So
there was one person that could stop him.
Who?
Lois Lane. Okay. Superman was pussy whipped.
Because you, my friend, are completely pussy whipped.
Oh! Yeah, okay. Well, he was.
Yeah.
But
that was his kryptonite.
You wouldn't say it to his face. But
Hell no. I'm not taking them laser beams.
You wouldn't even waste for it, because he's like, I heard that.
Exactly.
But so I got the sourness of it, because it's like, okay, like, because that's how people will really react. Because like I love the first Superman. The first Superman is, to me, the best Superman. However,
of this previous.
No, like, Christopher Reeve's Superman the movie.
That's why I'm trying to make sure which version of Superman. Okay,
Superman the movie is the best Superman, right? Because it was within context, right? It was of his time.
Yeah.
He was the best personification of both Clark Kent and Superman. Like, he just embodied it. Like, when you think of Superman, you think of Christopher Reeve, even now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. And so I don't know how you're going to translate that into 2025, but, I'm willing to go see it. But even when I go back and watch Superman the movie, I remember when he first appeared, everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, you're bullshit. Everybody would not be doing it. They were like, who the fuck? What the fuck? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's like, I think you talk about, like, emo characters.
Yeah.
I think of Robert Pattinson being Batman.
He's supposed to be.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, to me, he played, like, just thinking about, like, what, like, stage Bruce Wayne is at in his life.
Yeah.
That is like the perfect, like, rendition or perfect character portrayal.
Like, oh, he's not a good Bruce Wayne. Motherfucker. I hate when they spell out things for you to have the context in which to watch the movie. Like, within its first 10 minutes, it's year 2. He just started being Batman. He hasn't learned to have a alternate persona to throw off people from knowing that he's Batman. He hasn't worked those things out yet. And I'm pretty sure they're going to dive into that in the second or third movie. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to have the duality yet, because he's still learning how to be one of those people, let alone 2 of those people. So, like, when people are like, emo Batman, I'm like, first of all, the fact that we're complaining that Batman is too moody, as if he didn't watch his parents die in front of him. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, I was that's the argument that we're making.
Like he's not experiencing trauma on a daily basis.
Batman's too moody. Really? He sits in the cave. Like, what do you? Why? That's the critique.
They're ignorant. That's ignorant.
I mean, I feel like we have to say anybody is too moody that dresses up at night, dresses like as a bat,
yes,
and goes and beats up criminals. Like, that's moody in itself. Like,
I'm like,
that's not normal.
I'm like, I don't know what you're looking for. I mean, I guess he's supposed to smile as he's doing this shit. But real talk, honestly, the Batman is my favorite Batman movie because I love detective movies, and so to see him be a detective was like, okay. And Kit Kat,
like, can actually be a real detective.
Yeah, it was like a real Batman. Like, he could fuck people up and be smart. And it was like,
it wasn't like, you know, I like the Michael Keaton Batman movie. I really,
Mr. I Can't Move My Neck.
Well, I still like the movie, but
go back and watch the movies with the knowledge that he can't move his neck, and just watch the movie.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious watching the movie because he turns. I was like, nobody fights like that, like, at all. Like, but
that's what I say. Like, I appreciate Robert Pattinson being Batman because it's like the way in which that movie, again, is year 2 of him being Batman. Like, everything about it just seems so much more realistic.
Yeah.
To where it's like, okay, I could see he got some deep shit going on in his life. He's trying to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
On top of trying to fight crime.
I didn't think he was going to do that great of a job, but then pleasantly surprised me. That car chase was probably one of the best car chases I've seen.
Oh, just the ending scene.
Just like amazing.
The ending scene by itself, like when they were
dropping
from
Madison
the ceiling,
Square Garden.
yeah,
Oh, my bad.
that was,
Gotham Square Garden.
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, that was fighting on the.
Yes.
Yeah, his entrance was fucking epic. Now I'm about to watch that shit tonight when I'm at work. But yeah, no. So
time out.
What?
You gonna do what while you at work?
Hopefully none of my supervisors are watching this.
Clean out your desk, you're gone.
Shit.
It'll be playing in the background.
No, I'm gonna tell you what I'm watching tonight. I'm into this show right now. I swear we get the sneakers. The Righteous Gemstones might be one of my favorite shows ever. As somebody who grew up in the church too, like, that shit is hilarious. Because it's about this this family of mega church pastors.
Okay.
Oh, that shit is funny. What's the guy's name? Jesse. Yeah, the guy that plays Kenny Parker. What's his real name? Jesse something? Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, yeah.
His name was Jesse in the show. Danny McBride, man, he's hilarious. The other guy, he was Walter Goggins is great in everything. But I'm trying to think of all the siblings. I know the one guy, he was in this show that used to be on Comedy Central. I can't think of his name. He's hilarious. The sister is amazing. I think this is like her first big thing ever. So, but anyway, the show is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on HBO Max. Shit is hilarious. It's got the Righteous Gemstones. Funniest shit ever. I put it right underneath The Office for me.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, as far as TV shows that are funny. Yeah, that might be number 2 for me.
Okay.
And maybe because, like I said, I grew up in the church, so to see some of the stuff, it's like,
it feels like it's relevant.
Yeah, like, I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of that shit that happened in real life.
Yeah.
It's like, so
I'm gonna check it out.
But anyway, sneakers.
Yeah, this is a sneaker show.
Shit.
Yes. I'm trying to think what I want to do first. I guess I'm gonna tease because Guru really wants to argue with you about the group chat.
Oh yeah, I just felt as if
I feel like both of y'all have an argument. So
I just felt as if that was a asinine thing for him to say. Like, I was really surprised that came from him.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a fucking idiot.
Wow. I hope Guru sees this and then is just pissed.
It's not in his nature.
For Guru to get pissed?
Yeah.
Guru's like he's the guy that gets quiet. I'm quiet too when I get mad, but he's the guy that you got to worry about because, like, he up to something. But Dwight called me yesterday because about my take about the Nigels.
Okay. And,
he's just like, oh, but it's 2 different shades of red. I'm like, okay, because it's 2 different materials, so of course it's going to look different, but it's the same color. But, not too many people have really given me too much grief about my take. But no, I just...
Right, because most people don't even have them.
Yeah, so why get wound up about a shit you don't have, right?
Exactly.
I just... collaborations to me used to be something special. Like I remember it was at 2010 through 2012, 13, where to me, like that was like the peak of collaborations, mostly with SBs, and there was a lot of thought that went into it. Even when you had shoes that were primarily one color, like when you think of, I think of the Babe, the Blue Ox Dunks, right? Primarily blue, but you got the swoosh with the horns, you got the logo on the heel, you got the white tongue with the what's that print? The lumberjack.
Oh yeah, with the flannel
interior, and then but the upper was like made out of like a cowhide material, and then like the flaps had the pink on the inside.
There was a lot of, you could tell there was a lot.
There was a lot
of
thought and detail into it. It wasn't just like they set a timer down, like you got 10 minutes.
Go! Faster. 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 Are you done? What is it? What have you done?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I wonder how much time, because it's what you always say too when you talk about like with the design process.
Yeah.
I wonder how much time maybe they had to be able to come up with that. Like,
no, and I agree.
Could it have been a rushed, process?
Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know. You don't know.
But I feel like I would have did. I feel like even still, I feel like
still
if you
would have did more.
No, because I feel like if Jordan Brand was to come to me and say, "Okay, we want to do a collab with you," already in my head, I got ideas floating around. It's just picking one, right? And then from there, kind of visualizing how that would look, right? Take it, like deconstructing the shoe and then putting it back together to tell the story of whatever your collab is about. And so, because that's how I approach my Nike IDs. It's like, okay, what are my options as far as colors, right? And then from there, okay, this is the shoe that I'm gonna design. Like the Air Force Ones, when I did my Roger Rabbit Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, based on the materials and colors, boom. I just did a Air Max I showed y'all last week. They had the Air Max right now, or Nike by You, they have the Air Maxes with the animal print. And so I based my shoe off of Zookeeper's uniform. So, it made sense. And so, I think of these different things, and to see people putting, the bare minimum of a shoe out there, and then hoping that whatever story they contrive sells the shoe for them. Like I said, like the shoe, like if I put my Roger Rabbit shoe on the table, you can be like, okay, like that's different,
It gives you an opportunity to be able to tell the story of what you were.
It's a conversation starter, right? The shoe should be a conversation starter. If you put a shoe on the table, you should be like, you might not know what the fuck it is, but you're going to be like, what is that?
Right.
And then that gives me a chance to give you the context of the story so that you fully understand what that shoe is about. If I put that Nigel shoe on the table, you're going to just think that that's another Jordan 4 release, right? Because there's nothing about that shoe that stands out other than it being like basically one solid color. But like I said, I've seen solid color shoes before. That's not moving me.
Well, to be fair, if nobody told me that it was a brick, like that's like what it was supposed to be based on.
Oh my God.
Like what you said, I never would have thought that.
I would have rolled my eyes, because if it was me, I would have made like the stitches cream so that, now it look like the mortar between the bricks. You know what I'm saying? Or I would have given it some type of trim. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to Dwight, our friend of the show. He was like, oh, but it has 3M. And I'm like, like if that's the bar now where it's like, okay, well, they threw 3M on it. Oh, shit, take my money. That's a pretty low fucking bar.
They can throw 3M on stuff that they want to throw 3M on is what we're
I've seen 3M on the shoe
But
before.
I feel like that's what we're gathering from that. Remember how many retros come out that were like, well, damn, you didn't put the 3M on there that it had on there. You took it off, or, vice versa. But it's like, again, you're able to put 3M on whatever you want to put 3M on.
Yeah. But no, I mean, when you take 3M off, it's like you're taking away from me as opposed to.
Right.
And then Dwight's counter argument, well, we never see 3M on the floor. And I'm like,
why are you the way that you are? Honestly.
Okay. Like, first of all, when I think of bricks, I don't think of 3M. Or I don't think of reflective material.
It's got
it's just like
the floodlight on over it.
Like, and he has some, and I'm sure Nigel has some explanation for it, which, okay.
Well,
and I'm not mad at it. Like I said, the story and the idea is great. Okay, cool. Especially with his background. Understood. But that doesn't mean that the execution of the shoe is just as good as the story to me. Like, I can have a great story. Like, there's a lot of people that have written great books doesn't mean it's going to be a great movie when they try to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just one of those things where I just look at that shoe and I just, like, the same thing I told Virgil. Like, I just expect creatives to be creative.
That's ignorant.
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I go, if you was to go on Instagram and just look up hashtag Nike by you and to see all the designs that people design, right? You'd be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Our collabs do suck. Because they put way more thought and effort with the limited options that they have. When these people supposedly, now once again, I don't know what Jordan Brand allowed or didn't allow, but it does often feel like they give the collaborators a 10-minute timer to come up with their shit.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like, who knows? That may have been what happened. What I think though too is Nigel had the Jordan 1 that had like the dirt stain on it.
That was another.
But at least I'll say with that, I can at least see the creativity or the thought behind that being on that shoe versus what we got with the 4. Right?
Shit.
No.
Really?
No, because dude, I could walk outside right now and see a whole bunch of scuffed up sneakers. That's not, you know, I feel like we give, maybe the bar is just on the ground right now. Like, I just feel like we don't force people to be great. We just kind of accept mediocrity.
Well, but I guess the other thing,
shoehorn it into greatness.
But then the other thing we'd have to ask ourselves would be, I think you may have alluded to this before when you kind of like open this up. Is everybody meant to have a collab?
No. You could be dope as fuck. That don't mean you should have your own shoe.
That's
like,
kind of, and that's like,
sorry.
At the end of the day, like, yeah, I thought his Jordan 1, I thought that was decent.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, especially in comparison to this Jordan 4.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where it's like, and this isn't me throwing any shade, you know, against Nigel Sylvester. Like, I don't know the guy. I don't know any of the people that know him. But is he really, you know, up there to be able to have his own collab?
I mean,
to be able to design a sneaker.
I'm gonna be honest. Outside of sneakers, I don't know much about Nigel collab.
Yeah.
I mean, Nigel Sylvester. You know, I'm aware of who he is.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I wasn't somebody. I still don't follow him like that. So, and that's not a knock on him. I'm sure he's great at what he does.
That's like, you know, I could sit here and say like
I don't watch soccer, but I mean, I'm sure there's great. Like, what's that guy Beckham?
David Beckham.
I'm sure he's not losing sleep over me not watching him. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, but when I think of collabs, I always kind of like, I know you talk about like the Nike Dunk, you know, the SB Dunks when they were doing their collabs with a lot of the skate shops and things like that. But also think of like that time frame, like Pharrell, when Pharrell had like all of these different Adidas
the ice creams and shit.
Yeah, like to me, like when I think about somebody that is like, that's a person that should have a collab.
Yeah,
like I think of somebody like that. Like, what are you doing from a sense of fashion? Like,
even
how are you able to?
Because didn't he come up with all the different color Stan Smiths, or was that the Gazelles or Stan Smiths?
Stan Smiths.
Yeah, like even because I remember bitching about that. I'm like anybody can walk into a room and say, okay, but make shoes in the same colors as this crayon box. Like that's not that.
I'm not saying everything is a hit, but I'm saying like in terms of like who I would say like, hey, that's a person I could see.
Yeah,
you know, we passing the baton to make a collab. I don't know if I feel like is Nigel Sylvester that type of person where it's like, yeah, you should have a collab.
But I don't think even when you say like fashion, like I'm not going. Oh, obviously sneakers and fashion intersect, right? But that doesn't mean like that every high end fashion needs to deserve their own sneaker.
Yeah, no, correct. I agree. I agree with you on that.
Because what works for Louis Vuitton doesn't always translate for sneakers. Like to this day, I do not understand the outside of it being super limited. I do not understand the hype for the Dior ones. They're not horrible. They're not ugly, but they're not the greatest Jordan 1 ever either.
It's pretty basic.
Very. You know.
Which is why they ended up releasing, what was it, a Jordan 1 low that just didn't have Dior print on it, but it was basically like the same color scheme.
And did nothing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it comes down to name too. Because we talked about a couple of shows and I even posted a clip where it's like, you know, the Watch the Balloon where the guy was like, but these are Dolce and Gabbana.
I mean, he's Dolce Gabbana.
But nobody give a flying fuck. He's Dolce Gabbana.
Doja and Gabbana more important than you see in my eyes. How the fuck is Doja and Gabbana more important than your eyes? You came on this show for dating and you getting rejected because you wearing glasses. Them bitches would have flew off my head the second. It's because of the glasses. Them bitches would have been across the stage, talking about Doja and Gabbana. Now you gonna be lonely in Gabbana. I don't know what the fuck. I ain't have a punchline for that. But he ain't gonna have nobody. He gonna be back alone talking about some damn Doja and Gabbana.
But they look really nice.
He looking at us. We don't give a fuck. I'm sick and tired of people.
Yes. Like I stated, he didn't say a word, so I can only go based off of what I see. I did not like the glasses.
I feel you.
So
I mean, he's Dolce Gabbana.
But they look
He's Dolce
really
Gabbana.
nice.
Don't look at us with that. He Doja Gabbana. Take them dumbass shits off and chuck them. That's the second girl that rejected you because you want to be wearing some glasses indoors. And then you going to tell us they Doja. Now you going to be lonely talking about some goddamn they Doja and Gabbana. They ain't more important than you finding a wife, you freaky dog.
You feel me? That ain't 14 karat gold either. But not mine.
Look at her face. You're a materialistic fool. Nobody care. You the only one laughing. I hate this guy. Somebody get him off the goddamn show.
I'm like, what the name got to do with how the glasses look? Like, saying the name of the brand does not absolve it of being trash. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a shield for, to avoid criticism. Like, they can drop ugly shit. Jordan Brand has made ugly shit. Still a fan of the brand. Michael Jackson. Like, he did make Blood on the Dance Floor. Wasn't his greatest album.
That's ignorant.
But he's still Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it wasn't that bad.
so
it wasn't on par with the first four.
when you got more songs that I won't listen to than I will on your album. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I can name a rapper right now that everybody says that I say that about, that everybody would think I'm crazy when I say it. Kendrick.
You son of a bitch.
You really want to smoke. I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm the biggest Kendrick fan either, but I acknowledge, well, no, I can't think of a Kendrick album that I'm not the biggest fan, right? Meaning that I'm not like nonstop playing his music in my car. But when I listen to his music, it's like I could listen to it without skipping.
This last album, everybody hyped up.
Nah, I feel that way about J. Cole. So J. Cole is a great rapper, but I'm not, like, you could be a great rapper, but not be that great at making music.
J. Cole has sneakers too, so this is perfect.
Well, there you go. Does he? Well, Puma?
Yeah, Dreamers, yeah.
And, he had that collab with Mitchell and Ness. Please stop. Please stop. That shit, dog.
Are you still good with them saying that they fanatics?
They have a lot of, there's a lot of changeover. So, a lot of people got blown out of there. So, I'm going to reach out to some people.
Oh, yeah.
But this kind of ties into sneakers. Like, Mitchell and Ness and Ebbets were two companies that, like, I really like because obviously the throwback stuff. And Ebbets, they were really into the old-timey baseball teams, specifically the Negro League.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to Mitchell and Ness, it was like authentic materials and like made in the same fashion as the way they was made back in the day. And I love those jerseys. Oh, Ebbets, man. Ebbets baseball jerseys were probably better than some Mitchell and Ness jerseys at a certain point.
Really?
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
But now they've both kind of sold to these, I don't know if it's venture capitalists or what, but anytime they get sold out, like, everything that was great about them changes because now it's about mass production and, whereas, back in the day, especially old school Mitchell and Ness jerseys, man, you could tell they took their time with that shit. They put some love into that.
That's what she said.
And so now you could tell, like, when you compare a Mitchell and Ness jersey from today versus back in the earlier years, night and day. Night and fucking day. Same thing with Ebbets, and I get it, because the time and effort isn't as cost savings as, how these companies run, but it's like at the same time too, the quality goes down.
Right.
And you end up pissing off your core fans in order to attract a broader audience. And a lot of times you end up losing both, So we'll see what Ebbets does. I was trying to get a jersey. I can't remember the player, but the black player, and I think the NBA,
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
MLB officially added his stats in, I want to say last year, and it made him I don't know if it made him the #1 home run hitter or something. I don't know, but when they finally added his stats, it made him #1 in whatever category. I can't remember off the top of my mind, but I added it into the video. But yeah, I was gonna get that jersey, but then Ebbets, like I said, sold his company to venture capitalists. So now I'm kind of like, do I still want that jersey, knowing that it's not made the same way?
Never again will you have to listen to her talk like this. Where everything has a question mark at the end of it, with an upward inflection at the end of every sentence.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, damn it, now I'm doing it too.
Yeah, the quality's gonna go.
Anybody that's seen me knows I got a decent sized jersey collection. And I love old school baseball jerseys. Real quick, how they play baseball and them motherfuckers is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean,
woo! I did that photo shoot with Mitchell and Ness a few years back.
Say it's basically like flannel.
Sweat my ass off. So I'm like
thick flannel like material. Yeah,
because they didn't want it to shrink or something when they washed it or something. I don't know if it was wool.
Well, I mean, plus let's also keep in mind, I don't think polyester was.
Oh yeah, it's big
much of a use.
Yeah, but no, the
spandex didn't exist
because they used to because they was like full sleeves, full pants lit. How they play baseball in 90-degree weather and no mother, really? Sheesh. Yeah.
Oh, we should
shout out to those guys.
We should go catch a game.
We should.
Yeah,
do a show live from the baseball game.
Exactly.
Let's do that.
Yeah, Bob, can you set that up for us?
There you go.
See, look at that.
Have the sign in the outfield.
We'll be broadcasting.
Yes, right from the dugout. But yeah, that's why I got so much respect for the older players, because what they had to go through in terms of just everything. I mean, you name it, from the material of because you look at the materials they use nowadays versus the materials they used to have to play in.
Well, not only that, but even just look at, again, we are a sneaker show, the footwear.
Yeah.
Right? Think about that.
That's why when I hear people complain, the players talk about players back in the day, you go out there and try to drop 30 in Chuck Taylors. Go out there and see it, you know what I'm saying? It's funny to me, how these players nowadays, because Guru called me last night to complain about how, Charles Barkley and Shaq are talking about LeBron. And it's just here's my thing about when players talk about older players. One, and you see this in anything, right? You see this when the older generation critiques the newer generation, whether it's music, anything. That's just a natural thing that happens, right? I grew up, but I worked in construction. The people that, the old school electricians that had to work in the 70s and 80s, they talked about how things changed when I came around and how easy we had it compared to, And so when these older players, first of all, I just feel like anybody older than me that has done what I'm trying to do, they've earned the right to talk shit. I ain't got to agree with it. I ain't got to like it. They've earned that right, right? So I'm never going to disrespect, right? Second thing is, I hate when these players say, oh, they were plumbers and those other stuff. First of all, the guy at the end of the bench making, $400 million now? Because it's just so much money. The guy
at the end of the bench back then, he was making probably $15 an hour.
Yeah, so while they were out there building the league for you to come benefit from, they might have had to supplement their income by doing other jobs. Once again, that's why they're owed more respect, because they got to work a job and then still come out here and compete against the best athletes of that time.
Well, let's also put in perspective, a lot of them back then during World War I and World War II
were out there fighting.
They actually had to go do time in the military as well, and then come back.
Yeah.
and play professional sports.
Right.
So,
and there's a lot of them, in the middle of their primes and stuff. I mean, granted, there were black athletes that weren't allowed to play, so you got to factor that in. But, like, when people talk about, well, I think LeBron was like, well, you could have dropped Giannis in the 70s and, he could have scored 250 points. Okay, this is what I hate about, because I'm very scientific, right? Whenever you do a comparison, the variables have to be the same, right? So, to me, the proper way to look at this is to say, if we took Giannis, put it back in the 1970s, and all he had was the technology that was available, the medicine that was available, the nutrition that was available, the equipment that was available. What else?
Hell, just like the style of play.
Yeah, the style of play. Like, to me, would he be the same player? It's also factor in the evolution of the game, right? So the reason you have a Kyrie is because there was an Allen Iverson. And you had an Allen Iverson because there was an Isaiah Thomas. You have an Isaiah Thomas because there was an Oscar Robertson. You have an Oscar Robertson because there was Bob Cousy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's an evolution. So you know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan watched Dr. J, and then Kobe Bryant watched Michael Jordan. And they take elements of their game to build on, right? But you're building from something. You're not building from scratch, right? You have a blueprint, and then you might add your own, like Michael Jackson watched James Brown, right? There's an evolution. So you also got to factor all those things in. So if you was to take all those things away, would Giannis still be Giannis? Conversely, if you was to take a Dr. J from the 70s and give him the sneakers that we have, give him the equipment that we have. Like, think about the sneakers that they had to wear versus the sneakers we got now, and the huge difference.
As you say, you put a Zoom Air unit on one of their feet.
Right. Like, the R&D that go into sneakers now, like the amount of tech that we have in sneakers now versus the canvas and leather that they had back then, right? Look at the jerseys. They're engineered to whisk away sweat. They out there playing in wool and cotton jerseys.
Well, let's also keep in mind half of the arenas that they played in NBA, didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah. Think about...
And then people were smoking inside the arena. So it's like, if you got that going on, you trying to play a basketball game, you inhaling cigarette smoke probably. It's probably feels like it's 115 degrees in there while you're playing.
But think about it. They had water back then. Now they got, special types of Gatorade that you probably couldn't even find in the stores now. The compression tights to keep the blood flow going. Like all the different things they got now. So for today's players, with all the advantages that they have, to sit here now and talk shit to the other players because they don't like what they have to say, they don't like the criticism, shut the fuck up then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems to me that today's players, they want to be called great without actually having to go through the same fires that the greats had to go through. And I think that's the older generation's issue. You want me to just throw greatness on you because you did something mildly significant. Congratulations. But, just because, like, there you go. What's up? Where the candles at? No, that wouldn't be funny.
I should have wore some SC trainers then. I didn't know that's how we was doing it then. I didn't know that's how we was doing it then. I would have had on some SC trainers.
Well, I want to get is it a 5-5 first? Because I've been holding off. Is it a 5-5? And then we'll get into that conversation because I know he wants to get into it.
No, that's cool. Look, because I tell you, I think it's I'll say what I said.
Them bitches look fresh off the box. Like, you stopped by the Nike store first on the way here. That's why you late.
I don't got no shoes.
Look. Like I said, I thought Guru's comment was an asinine comment.
You are a fucking idiot.
Now, I didn't expect it from him, but at the same time, here's the one thing. But here's the other part. I respect it coming from him because at least I know he's of the culture.
How you gonna call somebody asinine and then say you respect him?
For the question. That's what it is, man. All them sodas and all them Diet Cokes sitting in the corner office, man, building them Doritos displays. This guy, we got it.
Pepsi Zero.
We usually on the same page. So this is like Brian and Kobe. We only got twice a year to go at it.
There you go.
We go down too.
I get to be Mills Lane today. But no, okay, so 5-5. Let's go up into this real quick. 5-5. Number 5, we got the women's Air Jordan 1, Retro 1 High OG Rare Air Cinnabar. Okay. I mean, basic. I mean, not bad, not horrible, but basic. And I guess I just expected more when because they made such a to-do about rare. That's all we were hearing about for the last few months.
I kind of feel like they just throwing random colorways together now.
It does feel like they scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to like concepts, and it's like you could, it's okay to not drop anything. Like,
rare Air 4s are cool. I like those, and the rare Air 3s that come in. So I think
I've seen the 3s. I haven't seen the 4s.
The 4s are dope.
Yeah,
I think
it's like the same color palette as the 3s is coming out. The black with the red and the blue. Yeah. It's got the tongue.
Oh, it got the patch that comes off. Okay,
yeah, that's what I just think that if you preference your consumer and say, hey, our rare airs is going to be like our what the Jordan of the classic old color, so we're just going to throw fire red, true blue, shadow, cements all on one shoe. We're going to call it rare air. Then people know what to expect when they buy that shoe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think if you preference it like that, because if you don't, and we just look at a shoe with just colors on it, you're going to be like, what is, you know what I'm saying? At least tell us your aim at what you're trying to do with that.
I kind of wish that they had, I think the base of the shoe is black. And I just kind of like, I'm kind of over a black 3 or a white 3. I like if it was like a blue base or I don't know, something that we don't normally get on a regular basis. I've seen enough black base 3s to be like, okay, like there's other colors.
So you got something against black?
Yes.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, so
this your hat too. You had got it a while ago. We had recorded.
I meant to tell you after the show. We're gonna talk about those LeBrons after the show.
Okay, so what happened?
Remember you was asking?
Oh yeah.
Hook up.
Yeah, I got you.
Number 4, and some people might have a problem with this. Number 4, we have the Puma Stewie 4 Prism. I actually like this shoe, and shout out to the ladies too, because
you got a picture of it.
Yeah. Shout out to the ladies.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a decent shoe.
It remind me of that LeBron 11 Terracotta Warrior.
Have to pull
I can
those
see
up.
that. I can see that. But you shouting out WNBA players or just ladies in general?
No, I mean both, I guess. But because I'm thinking about Asia and her shoe.
You gonna watch a game?
Shoe. No, but
terrible. Just
okay,
terrible.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
You gonna buy the shoe? If it come out
This
dope
shoe?
color? No, the Asia Wilson shoe.
Oh yeah.
You gonna buy the pink one?
No, he might go back. I mean, I'm just saying this here. Okay, so you buy the WNBA player, you just want to watch it.
Yeah, like
So
I'm
you
not the
support
biggest
Nike.
LeBron fan, but if his shoe is dope enough, I buy it. I'm a
say-
sneaker head, like so. If
You
his
say if you're
sneaker
not a
is
fan
dope,
of LeBron,
I'm
then
not
you-
the biggest. I don't hate LeBron, but I'm
Oh
not.
no, yeah, I'm not saying that. You don't have to be like a super fan to buy somebody's shoe.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the biggest KD fan, but I got a couple pairs of his shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Sneaker
So,
head, like so. If you put a shoe in front of me,
But if I hate you, I don't buy your shoe.
oh yeah, if I hate you,
I don't.
yeah,
If I
yeah.
don't say hate,
Like,
that's a strong word. If
we
I
gotta talk
dislike
about
you-
this too, because I'm done with AE1s, bro. But or
Dislike.
AEs, period, bro. And we gonna tap into that, but.
So you can't support Asia Wilson by at least
I
watching
don't hate.
WNBA?
I don't hate Anthony Edwards, but what he's doing right now,
You hate his actions.
Yeah, I can't support.
You can't
that.
support it. Yeah.
But no, let's get back to this and we'll talk about that later. But Asia, yeah, those shoes are dope.
But you can't support Asia Wilson by watching the WNBA.
Well, I gotta watch basketball. I can't just buy her shoe.
What if they have like a dope shoe and they said the only reason you watch it, if you watch the game, we're gonna give a QR code on the screen, you scan it, and that's how you buy the shoe.
I guess.
Shit, you might have just gave them the unlock to be able to force him to watch it.
Like if you're gonna twist my arm that way, I guess I'll do it. But
That's
like, yeah,
I just thought
the
that's
shoe
a-
was
that's
dope
really
as
a
fuck.
dope
And it was
concept.
crazy because I
That's
did
a-
not know
that's a
that
dope
would be a
concept.
dope
Giving them more
concept.
jewelry.
I didn't even know
Right.
that. I'm just thinking that.
I love how he said shit out loud, like on video, and then acts like I'm gotta in secret go back and say shit as if
You
they're not
did,
gonna
'cause
watch
that's
it.
what Irv Gotti did. Because there's a lot of people who
That's
made
what Irv Gotti did. That's
No, because
Caesar
people
didn't do that.
People
You
made
timestamped that part of the episode like, hey, Nike.
They watched this shit.
And what's so crazy is Irv producers used to make the beat, give them to Irv. Irv used to just say, "Hey, it's mine," or just like tweak a drum, something real small, so he can get co-producer and just get it. So all these produced
Why am I
records.
taking what you said? Like you saying it. They coming to me and saying like, "Hey, he said." I'm like, "Yeah, he said it." Yeah, like.
Well, it said what?
And I'll defend you.
It
That's
said
the crazy part. I be defending.
What you said? I said something bad. What
You
I said?
ain't say nothing bad, but
Do
like
he hear the defending that you do for him?
not in no spaces. Like, but I'm not gonna
So how
call.
do- so how did he
What
know
I'm supposed to
that
be
you
like?
defended
Hey,
him?
Guru, guess what I did today? I defended you.
Acknowledge me.
Like
I mean, maybe you should. Maybe that might make Guru feel like you
But
actually
like,
are
he knows about the one. Was that mad about something I said? What was the sentiment?
Because it's me and you primarily they got problems with. It's not that we're wrong. It's just we don't couch what we say.
How we couch?
Like they want us to be nice. But okay, so first of all, they do. Okay, let me say this.
I don't cuss. I don't be yelling.
It's not even about that. They want people to just go along and clap like to everything they do. They want you to nod and clap. Huh?
They want a bunch of seals?
That's what they want. So when somebody says something counter to the narrative that they want out there, as credible and factual as it is, like we talked about the ones. I've been hearing from people from the know, and I'm not going to say their names because they made me promise, but I know higher ups hate the videos we put out there because they're like, yo, like, because they can't argue against it, right? Because like you said, everything we said was facts, and we came from a point of view that actually made fucking sense. It wasn't us just trolling. We really felt that shit. Like, so when I say stuff, when you say stuff, it ain't just, okay, what's going to be clickable, what's going to go viral, or what's going to troll. Like, I legit feel the way I do about shit. So
I guess from my standpoint, looking back at it, I probably could say,
don't do that.
I really like, no. I'm saying, I'm being honest. I could say the shoes that I do like, I'm not as vocal about. So I could vocalize that. When we usually talk about something, it's something that they did wrong or how they could have done it better.
But we give them their credit. We do a whole top five.
I don't think
buy the product. To me, that's a nut. That shows how much you like it right there.
I think it's a step further because I've actually sold your product. I've sold millions of dollars worth of product. I've ran $1 million stores that sold your product. I've went to Nike meetings as a store manager in Chicago and Baltimore and advocate. Like, so I guess they may not know that because the company's so large. So I may spoke to people in this division. Sometimes the left hand don't know what the right hand doing.
So I should call Guru and he should call Nike. And
so I said, I think that's kind of what the thing is. I've sold, like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, I defended the Brick Fours with an iron shield and sword. So I mean,
you about 45 minutes too late. What we had to say about it.
But the thing is though, is if you go back and look at our 5.5s, I would venture to say on average 3 out of the 5 are normally a Nike or Jordan, right? There might be like the off weeks where they just drop the ball, right? But overall, like they get a lot of love. Like the fact that I'm not bending over backwards to kiss the ass is, I'm not doing that. I won't do that. I will never do that. Haven't done it. Won't do it. So yeah, like I like to think that I try to be fair, right? I give them credit. You know, I'll defend them. Like we went 1 week talking about how Nike, the discrimination lawsuit, and then the following week we're going off on StockX on Nike's behalf. So like, to me, it really depends on the story. I respond based on the story in front of me. If we're talking about Nike versus StockX, I'm going to read it, take all the information, and then I'm going to go with whatever side I think is right. The Nike versus the women on their campus, you know. I'm going to go whatever side I think is right in that moment, right? I'm not beholden to a brand. I'm beholden to the right thing, right? And so, you know, if you're going to try to sell me on a shoe that we already love and like, and only make 10,000 pairs of that shit and then act like I'm supposed to help carry the water, you know, of that shoe and not say anything bad about it when it's fucked up that you got all these loyal supporters who've been supporting you from like years and you basically give them the middle finger all because you're trying to pump up a shoe that doesn't need any more hype. I'm going to call you out on that shit. Why would you do that? That was stupid. And I'm so happy. There's a part of me that's happy I didn't see it, but there's another part of me that wishes I had seen it. I wish I had seen that Jock Slade interview with the guy from Jordan Brand. Because every time I think about it, it pisses me off. Why'd you come up with 250? Basically, because we can.
For a Jordan 1, this is a considerable price jump. What from the brand side justifies that big of a price bump for this shoe in particular?
It's, I think, a nod to the level of intention that went into the product. So the amount of time, effort, obviously the materials, which are elevated, the packaging, which is slightly elevated. And if we look at the competitive landscape. There are people that charge much higher prices for fakes. If we look at high fashion brands, there are numbers of, fashion brands that have referenced this style that still charge 3 times that price. And then if we look at the original, you've got 85 selling for 4, 5, and even 6 figures. So I think relative to the landscape of the model, this seems like a reasonable price, considering the fact that you will be able to wear it for a long time. It is an investment piece. And like I said, it just has that sort of cultural and historical legacy that I think sets it apart from other shoes. We're looking at this kind of like art rather than simply a shoe.
All right, fuck you then. It's like, once again, I know that's how they think, but to hear it out loud is like,
yeah, I mean, there's one thing to think it in private and then say it in public.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like the audacity.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was number 4. Number 3, we have the Reebok Shaqnosis Wash Black Chalk in Blue.
Let me see.
I like this shoe. I like it a lot, actually.
I told you, in my opinion, from the list that you have.
Yeah,
I told you. To me, I would have been number 1.
Yeah,
I just really think they could release other Shaq shoes that he had on Reebok.
Agreed.
Oh, 100%.
Like, really, please do.
I
forgot the other joints that were like white and the blue was like almost. It was like on the border of being blue, almost going to a purple. Like that shoe, I forgot what it was because he had the black one. They had like a chunky heel and 4-foot hexalite. Like that shoe, I think that was like $98.99, I think. But yeah, there's other shoes you can release by him that could have been like, dope. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's typical Reebok though, right? Like look what they.
Ooh, you know what's gonna piss me off? If I go on a website to buy this shoe and it's in my size, but I can't get the Orlando colorway, I might go to Reebok headquarters and just start throwing around some shit. But anyway, that was number 3.
Probably the most love you gotta show them too.
No, and I
bet
you
you wear a Shaqnosis in the 15 look like that little portal thing on Double Dragon where the brother used to jump through.
I hate Guru so much. I really do. I don't like Guru.
It's gonna look like the Doctor Strange when they got the sling ring.
Next time, I swear to God, next time I go there and they bring up Guru, I'm like, who? Like, I'm not saying shit.
Oh, so you went from giving credit to Ghostwriting. I got you. That's all good though. So you turn to the Trump administration.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
You're gonna wash away everything.
Bob
Jackie Robinson, who?
Bob just sent me that picture. He's the resident LeBron fan, so y'all gonna have beef. Number 2.
Y'all today, just because I have bigger things on my agenda.
I'm in danger.
He focused on you.
I know, right? Like it's kind of scary.
Man, he got you in the sights. Number 2, and me and Geeno discussed this, and just to kind of, it was a toss up for me, but just to kind of break the normality of a Nike and Jordan being number 1. Number 2, we're gonna have the Nike LeBron 22 Bryce's World. I actually like that shoe.
That's dope.
Yeah, I like this shoe.
I
gotta say, like, I know the 2021-22 looks similar, but I want to say the 22s are probably my favorite in both style and comfort.
21s
are probably my second favorite.
21s are very 20s. Probably one of the lightest LeBrons I like, but the 21s, because I hooping those. I got the orange color.
Oh,
21s are nice. 21s.
They cut into my feet. Every pair I had cut to the side of my foot. The 22s are
cool. They cut to the side of your foot?
Because they had that lacing system that would cut into the side
I
of
never had that, bro. I remember the first color I had was the black velvet, like synthetic suede, like almost like patent leather suede, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was dope, but like when I hoop, people would step on my foot and it wouldn't go away. So I took it back to Nike and I got the Abyss colorway, that like teal, blue, green, whatever.
Yeah.
Got that one, liked that one, and then that one had Both of them had translucent, but that translucent was like, what's that shuffle thing when they go like this and they just slide like this? Like that's how I was doing in those. I was like, I had to tuck them back, and then I ended up getting a pro one, which was a solid rubber, and those was cool. I never had that problem when I hooped it in like hard cuts, left, right.
Yeah. No, I like the 22. 22s are my favorites. The 20s are probably my
Maybe I need to
favorite.
spin around my chair at work, see if that work. Do it.
Yeah, you don't watch. You don't watch enough movies.
We'll take a nap in them, see if that works. See if that come up for them.
He said he was gonna binge watch the whole series
of what?
At work.
Breaking Bad?
No, what was we talking about? What show?
What show?
New Jack City?
The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, the Righteous Gemstones. That's still coming out though. Like I ain't got to binge watch it. I mean, there was another show I saw.
But you're going to just because you're at work.
I'm gonna watch it when I get to work. There's a new episode that comes on tonight.
Turnstile.
Don't act like you don't do that shit in your corner office.
I guess he
I don't
spelled.
have a corner office.
I guess they spelled
Bullshit.
Chrysler AMC.
I just find that funny. So he mad about what happened to his Wagoneer, but yet, what do you do at work? What you do at work is equivalent to what my man's was doing at work.
No, the fuck it ain't. I ain't damaged nobody's car doing what I do.
They didn't come off the line yet.
He was he was drunk.
I did some research. And
Fuck that guy.
I did some research, and I actually figured out why you got a Wagoneer.
Why?
Because at the construction site, what do they use to wheel around bricks? A wagon.
Don't they use the wheelbarrows?
Yeah, the wheelbarrow
It's not a
wagon. So
wagon.
that's why it is. So I get
That's
it
why they
now.
call it a wheelbarrow.
That's good. It's wheelbarrow. No, they got the ones that's long ones like that hitch onto stuff like forklifts.
A trailer?
No, they got ones that got like a wheelbarrow, but it hooks onto it and they can carry it. I've seen it. I'll show you a video of it.
Right.
I ain't gonna say nothing out of my behind. I know the difference between a wheelbarrow and a wagon. Come on now. That's what my Instagram name is.
So I'm like, what is he talking about? But number one, and to Geeno's chagrin, the Adidas Harden Volume 9, ironically HellCat.
I told you it should have been.
Nice shoe.
It should be on the list, but I just wouldn't have made it
I
number
think
one.
It's a dope shoe. I almost bought it at first. It's just that crease on the the synthetic
that's what you-
pair.
that's what you
Boy,
said.
oh boy, it looks like the bailout slide.
Yeah, that
So,
crease. That
like,
crease is
boy,
something brutal, man.
Like the leather joints, I cop the leather ones.
Hold on. I am so glad he said that because I cannot wait to find the video of people damn near killing themselves going down that slide.
Damn! Yeah! There's your glasses.
You ever seen a video of that?
Yeah.
Like the thud of people's bodies just hitting the slide.
The look of fear
as they
on
caught
people's
air.
faces.
Yeah, it's just
as they, yeah.
I never understood going down face down on a slide. I never understood that.
That slide was dangerous as fuck. But yeah. So the Uglish release. Well, go back to those Hardens. Those Hardens are nice. Like
Well, I told you the one thing I think that would be dope that Adidas would do is that
should have been it.
There should be some apparel to go specifically with that colorway.
But why don't I feel like a lot of brands don't really focus on apparel like they used to?
Like a tracksuit, like an actual dope Adidas tracksuit with Harden's logo, something minimalist.
Yeah.
All black with a little bit of red piping on it.
Yeah.
Like that'd be.
Because I remember back in
dope.
the day when I was in high school, like, you know, whatever new Jordan came out retro, they had some dope T-shirts or, you know, shit to go with it. And like, I don't feel like that's nearly as the same as it, you know, now.
A lot of people don't buy the apparel like that. Just overall, people like to go and find independent clothing brands to like cop from. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why it's like at some point.
But I feel like you could
cut back your losses.
I feel like you could come out with something. You know what I mean?
A T-shirt or something, like something to go with the shoe. Because it makes it easy
T-shirt.
for me. Because if I find something out there, like to your point, if I find something else out there, okay, cool.
Yeah,
but at least
a lot
have
of people
something.
I guess working retail. People would come up and say, "I'm like, hey, this is a shirt to go with." On there, like, nah, because everybody gonna have that shirt, and I'm gonna look like everybody. That's not bad enough. I got
you.
the shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So I think that's why it's like, okay, I know if everybody's
Look
gonna
like
have
a
these
bunch of
shoes,
clones.
at least I can differentiate.
Yeah, but everybody already look like a bunch of clones because they all dress the same way from off of Instagram and
True.
But it's we have the same style, but we started wearing the same exact shirts, that's different.
How many?
True.
So two people coming from a retail background. How often would people come in and be like, I want exactly what's on the mannequin?
I would have to say out of a month, probably 4 or 5. But
so that's 4 or 5 people that's gonna look.
That ain't enough to make 1,000 shirts. 5,000 shirts.
I didn't say you got to make a bunch. I'm just saying, like, at least make something.
It got to be worth their while to make a whole bunch.
I know it's got to be mass
Yeah,
produced, but it's like it's got to be something to go with the shoe.
You know, one of my favorite shirts, and it was like real subtle too. It wasn't too crazy. I remember there was the Air Jordan 12 shirts, and it was like the Jumpman logo, but it was like huge. Like it went like it covered the entire front of the shirt, and it was stitched. And it was just the best quality. I still remember the quality of that shirt. And then it had the the heel patch, the thing on it had it on the back,
yeah,
the upper back portion. I think it was a cutoff too, a cutoff sleeve. But I remember that shirt. They had it for like every color. And like I said, it was real subtle, but I just remember the quality of that shirt because like they could have just screen printed the Jumpman logo, but it was like stitched, and I was just like, yeah, that is even back when I was a kid.
I had a pea pie jacket, the blue and orange ones, 8s. I had that jacket. The jacket was like that. It had that 8 on the medial side print all over on the back. It had the Chanel patch.
Yeah, man, they need to get back to that. Like I hope because I was in my heart of hearts, I was hoping that they would like release like a windbreaker outfit with the Great Fives. I know they won't, but that would have been so dope.
It took what 10 years for just wanted to make the shoe. You asking for clothes too,
right? I know.
He ain't lying.
Right. My bad.
No, I mean, I definitely feel like that's something that you could just. I almost feel like that's something that should just be in their catalog,
but on
a yearly basis.
Or just do a licensing deal, and everybody who made the Great 5 Jordan hot, like Kadeem Harrison and Martin and Will Smith, just do a shirt with them on and wearing a shoe from their TV show.
Kadeem Hardison does not get enough credit, man. He was the flyest dude on TV for a good stretch in the early 90s.
Martin used to have the double Jordans too, though. And he wore everything, Hirachis, Jordans.
But like Kadeem, like, because he had a whole fit. Like, he was like, he had Mitchell and Ness before Mitchell and Ness. Like, I remember it was so many episodes that he had the warm-up on with the shoes, and then he had his own style, too, because he had the glasses that flipped up. And, that's why when we started the show, I had the glasses. Yeah, like, Kadeem was, like, that guy. Between him and Will Smith, I'll probably say Kadeem more, but, like, between them two, like, those are, like, my entryway. Because it was, like, every episode, like, I had to, like, catch what they were
After
wearing.
3, Will Smith was the least best dressed. After 3.
Season?
No, least best dressed.
Yeah,
I probably 3. Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably
Smith,
put Martin.
We just look right at his feet.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll probably say Martin too.
Martin. No, I'm saying Martin to me was like. I agree with Guru. I'd probably say to me, Martin was the best dressed out of all of them
because he had the pants like up with the steel tins, and he would wear the lion stuff or the piston stuff. Like it was.
No, y'all gotta go back and watch this old different world because the Dean was like that.
No, he was
was
fresh as hell. No, for sure. Because the thing is, like with Will Smith, like a lot of his fits would kind of look like
Forever 21.
God damn.
It would look basic. It would look real simple, like. And like I said, I think like.
Hey.
Well, me and you both probably think Martin had flavor, like how he would wear it, like.
Y'all getting his album?
Who got a rap album? Martin.
Let's go to the ugliest release of the week, right?
No, I'm not getting it.
My mama always told me if I don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So
I'm not getting it.
I heard a clip. I heard a clip of the one song where he addresses, the last 5 years, and I'm just like, but I'm not gonna.
When it comes to like people rapping. Sometimes I feel like
stay in your lane, Wayne.
Just
being Will.
Yeah, just
stay in your lane, bro. I just don't.
You do one of the first rappers.
That's
one of the first rappers to get a Grammy, which he shouldn't have.
No, that's not what I mean by stay in line. I don't mean like don't rap. I mean stay in the lane that you've created for yourself.
Oh, you talking about the Drake-ish lane?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like summertime, Paris, don't
just be you.
Stay in that, bro.
Yeah.
Don't do the.
You successful enough now. It's okay.
I mean, he gotta say something when
But he said
he had plenty of opportunity to say something, and he.
I mean, he did. But it's
Like,
just
I'm
like,
sorry. How
yo,
about
it's
start
like
with
every
that?
time you think you pass it, your wife saying something else. Your wife saying something else.
No, but that's my point.
That's really.
I'm not. Listen, y'all can
the
choose not to
issue.
listen to the song if you want to. I'm just gonna say he had a line basic. I don't know if it was verbatim, but it was basically like, "You wish you had a Jada." I'm like, no, the fuck I don't, bro.
Which version?
No, I don't. No, it don't matter. I don't want it. I don't want it.
94 to 99. Yes.
Knowing what I know now, I'm good. I don't care.
But then again, you be like, she had your daughter writing a letter to Pop. Like that's.
She had you on her show to talk about how she was fucking y'all son's friend. No.
But he stood on business. He was like, it was no, it was not an entanglement. Say what it was. Say what it did. Like,
You
he
ain't
did
about to
call it.
sit. No, first
He
of all,
did. He did say that. He did say that.
But why
why be
show him on
sitting
the
there?
show?
Like that,
Yeah,
that
I'm
right
saying,
there.
we could.
You
You
look
look neutered.
neutered.
So you can't stop me.
You look neutered showing up.
He ain't let her get that BS off.
Bro, you look neutered just by showing up to that shit. So I guess, I just that picture of him.
I
That's
swear to
the
God, I
most
was just
broken
thinking about
man
that.
I've ever seen in my
I was
life.
just thinking about that with the tears in his eyes.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, bro,
That's a bad
like,
picture.
But you gotta be empathetic though. Like, I'll grind my heart to hold this family down. And you just embarrass me.
No, that's back when I felt bad for Will.
You know what
But
I'm
then
saying?
the
Like,
Chris Rock shit
yeah,
happened. I'm
yeah,
like, dog, like you taking on the wrong person.
Don't you know, man, I'll beat you like you're one of my bitches.
Slap me around and call me Susan.
I warned you, Susan.
Someone should help that lady.
But
but they're gonna go back to that Kendrick video, the Heart Part 5, when he transformed the wheel. He said in Atlanta, hurt people hurt more people, calling the culture.
No, that's true. Hurt people do hurt people. But,
I was like,
but boy, that's what I mean by like, you going at the wrong person. Like that to me was just, that was the straw that brought the camel's back type situation where you overreacted to a situation that had nothing to do with nothing. That's not why you really mad. You mad about all the bullshit that you had to like tolerate.
It would have been a better way to be able to handle that if he,
Talk to my mans after the show.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the first black, what was it, the Grammys or Oscars?
That was the
It was
Oscars.
black produced. Like, you got all these black people that are like in a position of power in this coveted event. And that's the
and
opportunity.
you
you
get an
take.
award that show too.
Yeah, you like the first.
How you slap? You gotta wait till you get your award to slap dog. Don't
wait till you backstage. To where at least nobody, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you know,
Like
you
the
can
camera's
hear
not
it.
on
you
you.
ain't go to
you
enough
know.
Source Awards.
Was Will Smith ever at a Source
He was
Awards?
at one Source Award.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
at one. He was at one.
Yeah, he
Sure
probably
was.
left
It wasn't all
early.
wild.
He probably left real early.
Well, I mean,
Will was cool. He was a cool dude.
he used to take digs at rappers. Like, I ain't had to cuss to sell records. And Eminem went back at him.
Yeah,
Will Smith had to sell records. To
Do remember that.
But no, I mean,
Jay-Z too gonna change the game.
Will was
Still
cool
sold more
enough to
records
go,
than
and
Will
because
Smith.
everybody knew he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like, even if you had
Which is
Suge.
fine.
I'm just saying.
Nothing
No, but I'm
wrong with
saying
that.
even when that stuff was getting crazy, when am I gonna touch Will? Because Will, everybody, he was cool with everybody. Like everybody like Will.
But you cool with everybody, but people still took digs. That was really cool.
It took digs. I mean, it took digs at Hammer, and Hammer.
Nah, they was personal.
People be talking, talking shit about Hammer, but run up on it.
Hammer beat
I bet he'll beat your mother ass.
Run up on Hammer.
Hammer a thug.
I was gonna say he's probably the most gangster nigga.
But I think what the difference with Will though was just like we let you, we don't say nothing, we let you get your ish off, whatever, right? And then you didn't write, you got a Grammy for a song you did not write, and you gonna take shots at us, like, you know what I'm saying? People who putting pen to paper. So when Jay was like, ghetto dude still putting up Will Smith numbers and he was taking his digs, I had no problem with it.
Yeah, plus that Wild Wild West song was that was complete
Once
trash.
again,
it was a good soundtrack song to the movie.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Superman tie-in.
How does this come back to Superman?
You want to know?
Yeah, how?
I know Bob knows. Wild Wild West, the movie. You know why there's a giant spider in it?
Why?
Because so in the mid 1990s, they were talking about making a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage.
Okay, yeah,
Right?
I remember hearing
With
about that.
what's the Burton? Tim Burton. Well, Kevin Smith was going to help write it, but Tim Burton's supposed to direct it, right? They were They got so far into the movie, but there was an executive, and this is why I hate executives sometimes, because he kept pressing the point that he wanted Superman to, one, not fly, two, fight a fucking spider. He had this thing where he wanted him to fight a spider so bad, right? The movie doesn't get made, whatever. They take the script, reconfigure it to make Wild Wild West, and that's why at the end of that movie, he turns into a giant spider, because this guy just had to have a spider in the movie somewhere. Am I lying? That's why. As a matter of fact, if you go see the Flash movie, and they do they show the different Supermen and the different characters because the worlds are converging.
Yeah,
you see Nicolas Cage fighting a spider. It's so dumb. It's like, yo, like executives, like let the creators be creative and you go, cut the check. So yeah, so that's the tie. Yeah. But anyway. Ugliest release, and me and Geeno debated this. I just felt like, yo, like I want to like this shoe too, I really do, but it's just like it looks like, what it looks like, when you ever seen like like a painter when he goes to a house, he rolls out the blanket to cover the floor, and it has all the paint from previous.
So that's jobs. Not creative. So you just shit on the Nigels. For saying that there's no creativity.
There has to be a balance. Like you going from one extreme to the other extreme. Like I don't like just looking like a painter's carpet. Ain't this? Oh, a carpet is a painter's what?
Mat.
Or like a painter's mat. Let's just say mat.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, I was more so thinking that it looked like.
I want to like. That's what I said. I want to like this shoe, but it looks like a hot mess. It's a hot mess.
You see it?
GT what?
The Jewel Lloyd GT cut.
I don't think it's bad.
Shit.
To me, it looks
I
like,
want to like it.
It's like a mural. I mean, we grew up in the era of Mesquite, so you can't really get Mesquite.
That's basically that's what that is.
Mesquite glows. They had the hand on it with the paint and the splat paint.
Oh yeah.
The color. But I had no beef with it, man. It's on the shoe.
I want to like it, but I just can't.
I gotta get a pair of those. I heard those, the GT Cut 3s and the ones are really good to hoop in.
Oh, for the people watching, it's the Jewel Lloyd Special Edition Nike GT Cut 3. I want to like it, but I can't, because this is just the opposite end of the spectrum.
No, I think they straight. I like them.
I can't do it, bro. It's just like my eyes.
You defend those over the Ivan Oozes you got?
Of course he does.
Oh, the purple
got ooze.
I didn't buy those.
He got ooze dripping off his Dornbecker 3s now.
I didn't buy. First of all, I didn't buy those Converses. They were given to me. So
hey, he was at a construction site with bricks too.
See.
and
wait, hold up. Talking
about the birds moving. The birds moving.
Wait, wasn't it kids there at the construction site?
Yes.
Like, how unrealistic is that though? In the Power Rangers movie.
No, the kids went to go say their parents.
Oh, damn, this shit hard as hell.
That's the pause of the day so far.
Yeah, I forgot about this. Actually, yeah, appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first of all, as working on a job site, ain't no way a kid is gonna make it onto a job site.
But you had the bricks and the birds flying. That's crazy.
That's probably the most dangerous, man. Listen,
yeah, that's
a classic movie though.
The first one or the
Power Ranger movie?
I was saying the first one or the latest one.
No,
it was the latest one.
I ain't watched that latest one.
Huh?
It was it's another.
It was
one
like 2017.
That one, maybe like they do some of them.
You saying 2017 is like that's almost 10 years ago.
I said latest, not yesterday. Latest.
The first one when they lost, and then when they go to the temple, get their little ninja powers and come back and be on their time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the second one was decent too, if I remember.
I don't remember the second one.
Yeah, I remember the second one.
I feel like it was the second.
So what did y'all want to argue about?
It's not necessarily like argue. It's just, I feel like it's a healthy discussion.
So there was a common media platform. I had a discussion regarding.
I love how you danced around.
The Griffies. I only did that out of respect to you because
no, because that shit. No, I'm glad you did that.
That's right.
Because I would have to jump in like.
Because them, that's why.
Like the Griffey line. I guess just talking about the Trainer SC, right? And then the one guy was like, "Well, the Griffey line is the Griffey Air Max 1 is the top 20 shoe in his opinion, right, of all time in Nike." But they were saying like the Bo Jackson line can rival the Griffey line, and I posted that in the chat and I said, "Your name's not even on your shoe." In a discussion, and And then Gene said that he disagreed with that and he can share his sentiments now.
He gave you permission to talk. He was, and now.
How much time do I have?
No, I'm just saying, I was letting it out.
You got as much time as they give
chronological
them.
order, because we want, people wasn't there in our chat. So.
Well, no,
Geeno,
like
you got enough time as they give the collaborators to design the shoe.
It's not. Nah, I got much then.
10 minutes, go.
No, like I hear what you were saying in terms of like if your name's not attached to the shoe, but I just feel like with Nike, like there's so many shoes that came out that people are synonymous for wearing. That their names aren't even attached to those shoes, but yet when we go back as enthusiasts, as sneakerheads, as you know, into the culture, we attach them with that shoe.
He ain't lying.
You brought up like some of the early shoes that Penny was wearing that we associate with Penny Hardaway as almost being part of the Penny line, even though it's technically not part of the signature Penny line. Do I think it's messed up that Bo Jackson's name isn't attached to the Air Trainer 1, the SE Trainer? Of course I do, because I feel like when we look at those shoes, there's only one person that we think about. We think about Bo Jackson, right? My argument also was, as much as I agree, I do think the Griffey Max 1, I honestly feel like it's beyond top 20. I think it's like probably maybe like top 12, 13 all time.
Silhouettes?
Yeah. Easily.
No.
Nike silhouette.
Yeah.
Nike's.
Yeah. In terms of, easily top 12, top 13.
No, I'm not arguing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of other silhouettes.
What I think is messed up is, and that's what I was saying is like in terms of like the lifespan that the Griffey line has, is most people only know about the Griffey Max 1. I think the Griffey Max 2 is equally just as dope. If not, again, that's another one where I'm like, that goes within my top 12, 13 in terms of Nike silhouettes that ever released. Like the Griffey Max 2 looks crazy. But once we get out of that, it's like, does anybody know anything? The Griffey Max 3. Then you had, what was that? Like, was that in 2006, 2007? They put the 360, they did the Griffey Max 360s. And it brought a little bit of life back to the Griffey line, but it just didn't catch on like how it could have caught on. So I just feel like, again, yeah, it's messed up that maybe Bo Jackson's name isn't attached to the shoes that we know him for wearing. But to say that just because his name isn't on the shoe, he can't be in that discussion, I just think it's crazy.
When we talk about lines, we talk about somebody who has a signature shoe, multiple releases underneath that line. Pippen has a line. Penny has a line, Bron, Kobe, Jordan, right? If I was to give him a shoe and you tell me who's it belong to, he probably can look at a Griffey from the logo to the detail and say that. If you gave him a Trainer SC and said whose shoe this is, outside, if he didn't know the culture, he probably wouldn't be able to tell you because it does not have a name or a logo attached to it. Now, Griffey versus a Trainer SC, that's a conversation to be had. But far as line for line, I personally say if you don't have your own shoe or your own name on that, we attach it to that. The people of the culture, it's like an unofficial signature shoe, right? So, but to me, as far as we're gonna compare the Penny versus the Jordan, like if we going line for line, you gotta be able to have 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? Like shoes with your name on it that you sold and pushed yourself. So to me, that is why I do agree Nike did him bold by not doing that, but we can't go back in history and rewrite it
for sure.
So with that being said, your name ain't on your shoe, which is to me why he can't have that line versus line conversation. Turner SC versus Griffey, yes, but for a line, and yes, synonymous. Like I told him, we had to beg Jordan brand for 25 years to acknowledge the airship. Yeah, he wore that shoe before the Jordan 1.
Which they acknowledged, and then they they flipped the script.
Yeah, right.
You know, they went back, act like it didn't exist.
But guess what? If you ask anybody on the street, what's the first Jordan, they're going to say the 1, not the ship.
True.
They did it like Debo. They're like, what chain?
So to me, that's why I'm saying he can't have that conversation, is because that. And to be honest with you, take it a step further. There was nobody else who could have sold a baseball shoe after Griffey, before and after. No one else has. No one has made those, whether it be athlete, Nike designer, no one. He's the only one that has successfully made and sold a dope baseball shoe.
Yes.
Bo Jackson had that. We talking about the dopest football trainer shoes. The Huarache trainer might have something to say, and Deion Line may be a notch above his.
But I know this is a debate. I mean, first of all, this is the most cordial fucking debate I've ever seen. But But no, I was expecting haymakers, and I'm like, y'all shook hands.
You don't know
shit.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, fuck you.
I mean, Kobe and Bron going at it is not the same way as Steven Jackson and Bron going at it.
But no,
not Steven Jackson, Lance Stevenson and Bron going at it. But
first of all, I would say this: if I was going into an actual courthouse to win an argument, he has it. But if I was going through a court of public opinion, definitely understand where you're coming from, because I mean, y'all both make compelling arguments, to be honest. And it's funny that you say that about, cause like what you just said. I guess I wanted to respond to, because like you right, Deion, and then let's not forget Michael Vick, right? But I think I don't know. Like I'm always, and I don't know if it's because I tend to lean towards history, and I love history or whatever, because you don't get to a Deion or a Vick without a Bo, right? And because Bo, for the longest time, he was the second biggest athlete, right, that they had. And his ability to play damn near every sport, that's another thing that I think is lost when we talk about Bo Jackson.
He ain't lying.
That motherfucker was a freak athlete. Like, the dude could play baseball. Like, anybody that can play professional baseball and football, like, you only seen two people really do that, and that's Deion and Bo. And Bo was the first, right? So there's something about being the first to me that I always acknowledge, because you pretty much laid the groundwork. And so, yeah, things should get better, because, when you're the first, they don't have all the things, you know what I'm saying? Because they're still trying to figure it out, right? So when you get to the second, third, fourth, fifth, they kind of worked out the kinks. It's almost like, okay, we all got kids, right? Well, all of us got one. So, I mean, I might not be able to relate. But when you talk to people with multiple kids, when they had a second, like the first child always says, I get treated differently than the second and third child.
Yeah,
because as a parent, you've grown. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to your third child, okay, you know what it is. Like when you're a first time parent, you frantic. You know what I'm saying? As soon as your kid call, we're going to emergency. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like now I was like, all right, go sleep. Take some NyQuil. You got it. You'll be all right. And so, and that's why, like, whenever we talk about now versus back in the day, like I always give the nod to the originals, because you had to come in and lay the groundwork for everybody else to kind of build off of. And so, because even now, like in terms of like music, right? Like people talk about greatest artists. Of course, we'll talk about Michael Jackson. You got people already writing off Michael Jackson, which is crazy. But I had somebody was doing a debate like Chris Brown would kill Michael Jackson. I'm like, there would be no Chris Brown without Michael Jackson. Or even Chris Brown would tell you that.
Said that.
Yes, Chris Brown would even tell you that. However, when we had these conversations, like, let's not forget there was a James Brown that wouldn't nobody exists without him. Like, I mean, hip hop, like he's the most sampled person in history, because his music, and he was like a one of one. He was like the one of his kind. Like he was unique in that way. Like dude got a song where he just says please, you know what I'm saying? But you get it if you listen to the song. You're like, if you ever been through heartbreak, like you know exactly what he's singing in that song without him having to say it, and but once again, that's why they call him the Godfather of Soul, because it wasn't so much about the lyrics, it was about the feeling. And so that's why I said, y'all arguments, because I felt what you said. Like you're using, I guess, the music analogy. You had the lyrics, but you had the soul. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying as far as the Pippen, the up tempos. When we think of up tempos, we think of Pippen, right? Even though that wasn't technically his shoe.
It's not his shoe, but if you go up and down the street, you show that shoe to somebody, first thing people go, oh, that's a Scottie Pippen. It's like, nah, it's not right. The Scottie
not
Pippen.
Really, but yeah, okay, fine. But Guru,
but isn't that the crazy part about just in terms of like Nike in general is you have these silhouettes that they don't have names attached to them, and it's almost like those people that are responsible for those silhouettes being what they are now, almost get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
If I was his agent back then, but I would, after that first shoe popped, I said we need our own shoe.
I agree.
You should definitely.
But see, that's the thing though, because nowadays that probably would have happened, right? Because of the whole signature shoe now, because signature shoes have become.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I feel like they were signing more people then than they do now. But even then, yes, and also too, what you're saying, yes, people do like the foundation, so coming after you should be easier.
Yeah.
But we also seen people come after Penny and after Pippen and after Gary Payton, and their shoes having the Paul Georges and Devin Bookers and everybody else. So there's people who came after them whose shoe wasn't that great either, which is why they probably sell more retro shoes outside of Bron than they do of the current signature athletes.
He ain't lying.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
So I think that's it can go both ways too, as far as.
And then the other part, especially when you think about a cross training shoe, they had the McEnroe that had his name attached to it.
Yeah,
so it's like there was the precedent that was set to where you could have had a cross training shoe with Bo Jackson's name on it.
No, you're right. But to his point, I think too, when we talk about like the shoes and better or worse, the designers like when I hear stories from people at Nike. Like, you know, you talk to like the Wilson Smiths and other people, like it was such a different environment than it is now. Because now, like that's back when Nike was still becoming the behemoth versus Nike, the behemoth now, and they're more corporate now. Like, and like, you know, we've been talking about like what they need to do. And I think part of I've said this, like, I think going corporate sometimes you lose some of that essence that you had on the come up, right? Because you're doing things that are new. You're doing things that are out the box. You know, you're being a maverick and you're being creative and all this other stuff. And I think that was Nike in the 90s where they were just like, yo, we just, you know, just going crazy with it. And it just worked. You know, they did, you know. And so, I mean, you see it. Like, you look at the Foamposite. Like, there's no precedence for that. Like, that shit was, I mean, to this day, to me, that's still the most unique sneaker I've ever fucking seen. Like, it's just... it stands on its own. And so you don't necessarily see that now because you got shareholders, you got to play it safe. You know, like we can't take too much risk.
But I never understood the shareholder when it comes to creativity. Shareholders should be as far as managing the money, how you do sales, how you do your overhead, all of that. Me taking a risk and designing a dope looking shoe, a shareholder, I don't see how you have a shareholder in the back of your mind because you can make a dope shoe and limit it. And the problem is the Jordan 1 Air 1 Air 5. I'm pretty sure Nike shareholders, when they got up, they didn't check to see if the Jordan Air 1 Air 5, Jordan 185 moved the needle on their stock with Nike or not. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like making a consecutive dope product, raising your brand awareness, raising the amount of people that have respect for your brand, which do eventually equates to dollars, that's what's going to move the needle. But not so more managing your sponsorships, managing your brand deals, who you sign as a signature athlete. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Brian has a bigger following. We can turn from those following into potential customers. And if we take 10% of his fan base and turn them into customers, we can probably bring in 25 million. So that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So I think that's the more so I believe that they should keep those two things separate.
When I mention the shareholders, is because like you mentioned the Jordan 1. Like that's the safe bet, right? That shoe, like we talked about it, like you didn't have to market that shoe. That shoe was going to sell itself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's had 40 years of marketing and culture, and you know, so it's in the zeitgeist. Like you don't have to do anything unique or special, which is why
I've never heard anybody use that word before.
I got to use it today. So you know. So, like, that's why the marketing campaign made zero sense to me.
Definitely going to hit somebody with that one tomorrow at work.
Ergo, concordantly, vis-a-vis, you know what? I have no idea what the hell I'm saying. I just thought it would make me sound cool.
So that's why the marketing campaign was dumb as fuck to me. I'm like, y'all spending a budget on a shoe that doesn't need to sell. Meanwhile, you know, that Jordan 40 probably gonna need that same budget.
Message!
Because, you know, nobody gives a
Jordan
fuck.
40 even gonna come out this year?
Supposed to. But here's my thing. The reason I bring up shareholders and whatever, because when you come up with something new, that's risk, right? Because obviously you got to put R&D into the tech. You got to put R&D into the design. You got to, you know, create modes. You got to, you know, source materials and all this other stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then as somebody who works in a car company, like anytime we change a model, there's a lot of reconfiguration in the plants, right? To, you know, the robots, they got to be programmed differently because now the shape of the car is different. You know, the build of the car is different. So I imagine it's probably the same with shoes, right? So
yeah, I mean,
so there's a lot. All I'm saying is there's a lot that goes into that. So, and overhead does cut into your revenue, so or your profits. So, and I just think I think a lot of times, a lot of creativity gets stymied because it's like, okay, how much is that going to cost us? Because at the end of the day, we're beholden to them first.
Well, I guess I can use a music analogy, right?
Yeah. Mm.
When Jay-Z and Kanye are on Rockefeller, you can afford to put out Young Chris because if it doesn't do well, anything that you made, that album didn't recoup, you can absorb that from the amount of money and net profits that Kanye and Jay-Z are going to bring in.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm pretty sure the Jordan 40 doesn't sell. Nike's not going to lose $1 billion or $2 billion, right? They probably won't even really feel it, right? Far as managing the finances, hey, we gave y'all a big budget. We got to at least have a 40% sell through, right? If we can't make that, then the next shoe, we're going to trim off the budget or keep the budget the same. And as far as the shareholders thing, I don't believe they should keep that as separate because you have so many shoes. You got an NBA sponsorship deals. You got college football deals. You got all these other things bringing in so much money that you got enough cushion to take a risk. You know what I'm saying?
But they're paying for those things. They're not getting money from that.
What?
Like, well, they're paying the colleges. The colleges are paying.
I mean, they get the money from the merchandise.
Oh yeah,
I know what I'm saying. That's how they recoup. Yeah, they wasn't gonna get on. They gave Michigan $400 million. They did the math. They know Michigan.
Oh, they're gonna recoup that.
They're gonna make.
No, that's what I thought you were saying. NBA was paying. I got what you were saying. But I think the problem is because we talked about this. Like they've lost a little bit of market share because they're not being innovative in a lot of areas, right? So. You have to balance.
Not taking risk has cost you more money than taking risk.
That's the argument I'm making.
But wouldn't you say the same thing in terms of like, and I feel like I always go back to it from a marketing standpoint. They got the Air Max DN8 that they just dropped this year.
Yeah.
Outside of seeing it in the store and seeing whatever stuff they put on the sneakers app, is there any marketing behind that shoe?
No, but that's to your point. Like I agree with you.
But that's the part I think to Guru's point. We talk about keeping. When you talk about the shareholders, there needs to be somebody from a shareholder point of view is probably like, well, what are we doing in terms of marketing the product that's being created? Because it doesn't happen.
But I think a lot of things are happening, right? And it's very nuanced. I think one, Nike has, and a lot of brands too, have become too dependent on us to kind of carry that water because they can just throw out a picture of a shoe. All the blogs are going to repost it because they need to create content. We're going to talk about it because we need content. Like, so I think they kind of got dependent on that shit because when's the last time you seen a Nike commercial, right? Like they know that they don't have to put the money into that and it works sometimes, but not all the time, right?
Even if you didn't know if it was going to, even if you didn't say, I don't know if we should go back to shooting commercials, even if you didn't know that, watching that Anthony Edwards shoe sell like it did the last year and the amount of commercials they did, the amount of feedback from the commercials they did, and how people loved and the amount of creativity in their commercials and how they constantly shot commercials throughout the season. So if Cam and them said something about him, a month later it was a commercial responding to Cam and them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was complete involvement off the shoot. Like y'all have to start running the shoe company like a record label. We got to work this single. We're going to put it on the DJs. We're going to put you on Summer Jam. Like, we're going to work this record. Then after this record, we got this this song coming out. Like, you got to keep working your stuff. You can't just put it out and then see if people going to buy it. You got to keep working. That's what Adidas did.
Agreed.
They work their record all year round.
It's a simple term to that. Engagement.
Message.
You have to engage with your consumer.
But the problem is that for the longest time, Nike's been number one, so people have been chasing them. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like, oh, there's something new and flashy over there. There's nobody chasing that. So now you have to give people a reason to start chasing you again. You know what I'm saying? And so I think Nike kind of got drunk off of that shit. Like Guru says it all the time. Like victory has defeated you.
Peace has cost you strength. Victory has defeated you.
You know what I'm saying? When you're used to winning, you're not putting in the same work that you did in order to start winning. You know what I'm saying? And so
a great example?
What's that?
This past year, a great analogy. Dipset and Locks versus. The Locks was Adidas basketball, and Dipset was Nike basketball.
Yeah.
Just showed up with good. We all knew Dipset was more influential. We had more personal, emotional attachment to Dipset. When it came showtime, the Locks showed and proved. And just like Jadakiss did, he basically beat them by himself. And Edwards basically beat that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a perfect analogy of how they can handle. Like, you can't just show up and just think like you got to put in some effort and time in with your product. You know what I'm saying? So
to Guru's point, I mean, you made the point too. Like, not only was the shoe dope in itself, the commercials, it wasn't some overly produced. They ain't had to spend millions at all. It was him in one room with, maybe a prop and somebody else, just kind of, just doing a thing.
Monotone backdrop, and then because when you do monotone backdrop, it focuses you
on the person.
Yeah.
And
with probably only 1 or 2 cameras.
And it, and they used him to sell the shoe. He sold the shoe. Anthony Edwards, his personality and everything, it sold the shoe.
Perfect marriage,
perfect.
Which is why I go back to the Devin Booker. Like, as a Michigan dude, I'm happy any person get their own shoe, but just as a culture standpoint, like, you let this person go for this person, and it's
2 ends of the spectrum. Like I said,
he's like, you got to be laid.
What?
You can't be too laid back for a shoe. Like, Anthony Edwards got that Jordan, Kobe,
he got
brash ilk. You know what I'm saying?
He got personality.
But you can be laid back and still have personality, like Snoop. Laid back, but still got personality.
But he knows when to cut it on and off. He toggles it. Like Anthony Edwards, like 50 Cent is like Anthony Edwards, always on.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Brian would be a cool woman, then he'd be an engaged woman. And Kobe was like, I'm going to strike, but I'm going to do it smooth. But he was engaged. Like, his commercials, right?
Yeah.
Like, what you mean, Kobe? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, those things, they wasn't. So you can do it. It's just Gary Payton was a brash version. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can do it. Pippen was a silent assassin. That's what they called his commercial.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? With the Pippen one. So, like, you can sell that shoe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
remember, I think, what was that? Remember that it was one, I can't remember which Kevin Durant one. I think it was the KD 2 or 3 when he had commercials, and they Slim Reaper, like, all of his nicknames, they were giving him all of his nicknames, like, just as he's in the gym shooting.
Yeah.
It's like just certain. It's an easy way to be able to market.
Ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of Anthony Edwards, and like, it really, really hurts me to say it because of the reasons we listed. Because it was a new shoe. It was, I ain't gonna lie. Like, sometimes we talked about even for the Fab Five. Sometimes you do want to just see something different. You want to break the monotony of seeing the same faces and brands. And so it was nice to see Adidas basketball drop something dope, that wasn't a Yeezy or something, or a Fear of God. It was like, it was Adidas. It was Adidas's, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't attached to anybody else. It was straight up Adidas's shoe. And, I thought the commercials was dope. I thought the rollout was dope. I thought the sneaker was dope. I thought the colorways were dope. Like, there was nothing really negative I could say about any of it surrounding that shoe until, you know what I'm saying, dude? And like, I gotta say this though, because as a black man who is a father, there is nothing lower to me than a man who does not take care of his kids. You are not a man to me. Even in The Godfather, he said, a man cannot be a man unless he take care of his family.
You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good. Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
And I saw the video, the first whiff of this story I saw was the viral video that went where it was the mother taking her son shopping. And I think he picked up an AE1 and then she told him to put it down.
Yeah, put them back because he don't take care of his kids. Makes sense, right? Get somebody else like John Morant. He take care of his daughter. Kobe Bryant. Move, Jelani. John Morant, yeah. Kobe Bryant. He's a great dad, even after life.
Here's the thing, and this is what pisses me off, and it has a lot to do with podcast culture, especially with the manosphere or whatever you want to call it, relationship shit. And I'm not saying that there aren't any truths in that. But there's a lot of bullshit you got to weed through to get to those truths. My thing is this: at the end of the day, there's only one way to make a kid. It ain't never changed. It requires a man and a woman to sleep together, right? So it's crazy to me, like, when people act shocked and surprised when they do the very thing that creates a child, and they be like, "Oh, you pregnant?" Like, here's the thing: if you say you don't want kids, then it's on you, not her. It's on you to protect yourself because you're the NBA player. Out the gate, you are a meal ticket for somebody. So you got to protect yourself. And I want to even say they take classes, like rookies take classes on how to protect themselves from groupies and stuff like that.
Yep.
So you got to be smart. 2, you got to, once again, vet who you lay with, because we can't be telling women and single mothers, hey, you should have picked better, but then you out here sleeping with anything and then want to get mad at her after the fact when she ends up pregnant. When you didn't take care of yourself, you didn't do the necessary steps, protecting yourself, sleeping with protection, or how about not sleeping with a hoe at all? Don't come to me after the fact talking about she for the streets when you knew that beforehand, or you should have known that beforehand. Once again, you got to do your due diligence, right? That would be like, this notion where he said he didn't want a kid. That's like me saying, man, I don't want no DUIs. But then I'm out here drinking and driving. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dog, you saying that you don't want this, but then you actively doing something that's counterproductive. You don't want kids, but then you out here raw dogging hoes. What you thought was going to happen? You know what I'm saying? And then for me, as somebody who grew up without a father, and I had men step up in my life, to have a child or to create a child and then willingly say you're not going to be a father, I don't give a fuck how big of a check you cut. Like, being present is just as important, if not more important, than the money. Yes, you need to be able to take care of a child, provide for it, but you also need to be an active presence in his or her life. And so to walk away from that responsibility, that shit just bothers me. And to watch other men, I've seen other women even defend this bullshit, and I just can't. With all good conscience, I cannot condone a man walking away from his responsibility. Yes, he cut a check. That's half of the story. Now that child's gonna grow up, and I promise you this, as I'm getting older, and you hear from older folks, you become more aware of the things that are important. The loved ones, the time you have left, things like that. So you tend to process things differently. I know in my life, I've looked back at some situations with a sense of regret, because now I'm looking at it differently than when I was looking at it in my 20s or whenever it happened, right? I promise you, if he chooses not to be an active parent, he's going to regret it. At some point in his life, as he gets older, he's going to look back and regret it, because that child is going to grow up without him. And I pray that he or she, is able to still find a way to have a successful life with or without him. But that child is going to have some resentment, especially knowing, because this ain't Joe Blow in the middle of nowhere and we don't know about him. Like, this shit went viral. You are a big name. You're one of the best players in the league. So this is headline news. So she's going to have to deal with going on the internet and knowing and seeing all these think pieces and all this content centered around the fact that you didn't want to step up and be a father to her or him. I don't know if he's having a daughter or a son, but and so they, so now you got somebody out there that you created. That kid didn't ask to be here. You created that kid. You owe it to that kid to be a part of their life. I don't give a fuck what you said before the fact. You didn't do the things necessary to avoid that. And so, because you didn't take the necessary steps, don't come to me talking about what she should have and da-da-da-da. Why leave it in her hands? Why leave something important like that in her hands? If I'm that dead set about not getting somebody pregnant, I'm not gonna leave it up to anybody else to make sure they don't get pregnant. I'm gonna take the necessary steps, whether that's getting a vasectomy, using a condom, whatever I need to do to prevent that from happening. And so and here's the last thing too. If we're gonna say men are leaders, then we need to lead, not make excuses. I hold myself accountable. I'm harder on myself than most people, because I do see myself as a leader. And so I have to lead by example, not just my words, but my actions. And if my actions ain't lining up with what a man is supposed to do, trust and believe. I got men in my life that are going to check me about that. They're not going to make excuses for me. If I got somebody pregnant right now and I was like, oh, is she a hoe? Oh, I told her, no, you part of that. Now, I'm not making excuses for this lady. I don't know her, don't care to know her. Right? And they both wrong, right? She wrong for the shit she pulling, because she's taking advantage of the situation, but guess what? She wouldn't have the ammunition to take advantage of you if you hadn't given her the ammunition. So y'all both some fools. And there's consequences to being foolish. And, and in this case, is having a kid, but the kid is here or on his way. Didn't ask to be here. You brought this on yourself. So man up. So for me going forward, we talked about hate. I don't hate Anthony Ebbets. I don't hate him. But I cannot support somebody, knowingly support, because I know somebody's going to say, well, this person does this. I don't know about it. So I'm acting on the information I have now, right? Now, if you come to me and you're able to prove that such and such is doing this, then we can have a conversation about it. But knowing this, I cannot support that. You know what I'm saying? I just can't, man. It just bothers me too much. Being a father is probably the most important thing I've ever done. My daughter is my greatest accomplishment, and I refuse to make excuses for any man that willingly walks away from his child and is not present in his or her life. I just can't do it. And if that makes me soft or whatever buzzword you want to throw at me, I'll be that. But I'll also be a father. So
that was a James Harden night, so
I'm just saying, like,
that
that
well
shit.
said.
Yeah,
That shit bothers me. It really does bother me. Like, I know we like to have fun on the show, but we are all fathers in here, and that's one of the things I take pride in, the fact that we are all examples in our kids' lives. We are an example of how to, you can still enjoy life and enjoy your hobbies. Like, we all love sneakers. We all like doing this podcast, but we're all fathers too. I ain't never seen not one of us neglect our child to go get a shoe, to do anything we want to do. We are all fathers, and we find ways around that time to do the things we actually enjoy doing, like this podcast. And that's one of the things I'm proud of. I'm very proud of that. And so to see somebody who has the means and ability to do it, like, that's the part that's killing me. It's like, she's not forcing you. There's situations where the mother gets in the way of the father seeing the child. You're choosing to walk away, and that shit, and you can cut whatever check you want to. That check ain't gonna be there when she take her first steps. That check ain't gonna be there when she goes to prom or when she says her first word. Those are the things you're gonna miss. I still remember. I have, you know what? One of my most guilty things is my daughter. When she was younger, we had the door cracked, and she woke up and she thought we were all gone, and I was sleeping hard and I didn't hear her, and it took a while for me to hear her crying. And I got up and I feel guilty. And she was like 2. And I still, to this day, she's about to be 16. To this day, feel guilty about that because I should have heard it. You know what I'm saying? And I know, it's trivial and it's like, I shouldn't beat myself over it. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? When you are a father, you all about protecting your kid and making sure they good. And it was just like, in my mind, like, what if something, you do the what if, like, what if it was something really crazy and I wasn't there and whatever. I beat myself over that, like something like that. So to see somebody just shrug that, like, I look at men who aren't fathers and talk about it, and I look at them like, I can't even imagine walking away from my daughter. My mom won't even let me go there, right? Like, I can't imagine not being there for my daughter. Like, she's in the records. Me and her go to the record store every Friday. Like, we love that shit. We got our little thing we do. We both got, she's swamped with homework, and, I'm working all the time. But, we, got a little thing we do where we get in the car and just vibe. We just drive around Grosse Pointe or Birmingham and roll the window down when it's warm. We got a playlist that we have together that we, got our songs, and we just vibe out to the music. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are times that I cherish, and there's no amount of money that's going to ever replace those memories. And I don't understand it. I don't even fucking care if he tried to explain it. I refuse to even try to understand it because there's no explanation good enough. And it sucks though, because I really like Anthony Ebbets and I like the shoe. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, I can't have that information in my head and then be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy those. I just can't. It's it's bothering me. And I know I talked, I know y'all probably got some 2 cents y'all want to add, but yeah, that shit bothers me.
I agree with everything you said. I guess my only premise too, as somebody who has to co-parent in a difficult situation, and I still show up, like, you have the means to, like, have a relative go get the kid, pick them up and drop it off. You don't even have to see Shorty ever again. You know what I'm saying? So you can have that. And also too, on the flip side, I don't want. I told you I didn't want the kid. You had it anyway, so I'm gonna pay my money, and I don't want nothing to do with you, the kid. That's bold because, like you said, you the kid that has to be here. But also on the flip side too, you just had a child with your girl that you live with, right? Not too long ago, right? So now that sibling is gonna grow up and know about the other sibling, and then if they go and have a relationship together and they have a strong bond, now the child in your home is gonna say, why did you keep my sister or my brother away from us? Why did you let them have a relationship? Now you don't even know it, but 15 years from now, you can have resentment in your own home.
Yeah.
From your own child who you active with because you didn't have that. Because now it's bigger than you. You have a sibling. You can say, I don't want to deal with it, but now your child in your house doesn't have a relationship with somebody they're blood related to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another aspect of it that he may not be considering, or his girl could have said, you messed up. I don't know if she did or did not. Just a hypothetical.
Right.
But if she could have said, you know what, you didn't wrap it up. You cheated on me, so you better make that go away. You know what I'm saying? And he probably, or I'm gonna leave you. If I leave you, it's gonna come. What you got to pay her gonna be crumbs of what you going to pay me. So you know how they say it's cheaper to keep her. That may have been an alternative his girl gave him. He had to, but nonetheless, you gotta do that. We co-parent. Our co-parenting situation is not the most favorable, but I still show up. When I used to bring my son to the podcast, and the chair and everything, you know what I'm saying? So there's pictures and stuff like that with Goo. So I've done it where, like, to me, you have to, as a black man, and also too when we're the most active fathers. I look at a report from the CDC, right? And I had this conversation with women all the time. The black fathers are the most active fathers, I think, at 73% or more out of any other race in the world right now, right? And then single parent fathers have the same success rate as two parent households, right? So from a statistical standpoint, fathers are very important, right? So even though we currently are more active and have success raising a child, because women are more vocal, there's a narrative that fathers aren't showing up, especially black fathers, right?
Yeah.
So when you do things like this, it makes the active fathers have to fight twice as hard to shake a narrative or a stereotype off of them.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, to your point, and like, because I'm gonna wrap it up, but you said that like single fathers, have a good success rate, and I think that's because one, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You need both parents in the house, right? Because your mother and father give you something different. It's all love, but they both give you something that you need. It's called, once again, balance. But I think the reason why fathers have a success rate is because mothers tend to protect you from the world, whereas fathers prepare you for the world, right? They're willing to let you fall to learn how to walk because at the end of the day, I'm not always going to be here, so you need to learn how to walk. I can't keep carrying you. You know what I'm saying? And we want to trust, like as a father, like that's probably the hardest thing to do is to allow you to fail, because you want to swoop in and save them and, whatnot. But sometimes you gotta like let them go through that. But all of that, Bob's a father too. Randy, you a father? Okay. So yeah, but as a father, I would like to think that for those of us who are, that's probably our biggest accomplishment. Like our kids 100%. Our kids are like everything.
And as a black father, you really got to be extra preparation for the world that they're going into because you got to show them how to move. You got to show them how to be cool. You got to show them because you not allow the liberties to react like other people can or the opportunities of, hey, this is going to happen to you. This is how you move. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's, to me, from that standpoint, but it's a shame because my son, that's his favorite shoe is the AE1 right now. You know what I'm saying? He has multiple pair. I have multiple pairs. So when that happened, that stung. Like, dang, I rock with dog.
Protect the mother though, because everybody was getting on the mother like, oh, that's bullshit. I'm like, no, that mother.
No, they both wrong, but you knew who she was. Video. Oh yeah, I mean,
to attack the mother because it's like she's teaching him a lesson.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I think they attacking her because she agreed to get rid of it. From what I read, allegedly, she agreed to get rid of it for the $100K. He gave her the $100K and she kept it.
No, we're talking about the lady in the store.
Oh, the store. Okay.
Yeah, the mother in the store. Like she's teaching her son a lesson, and everybody's like, "Oh, how dare you? Shut the fuck up." Anyway.
I mean, it's other way. I mean, like I told my son because he really liked the AE1s, and it's really hard to get him to pick a shoe sometimes. I like rock, go ahead and rock out. But I just know that when the AE2 comes, we're going to pivot. And it sucks because I want support. When a dude with a signature shoe comes out, I look at that as that's a black man who got an opportunity to let me support, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at when I buy signature shoes. Even if you're not on my favorite team, As long as you don't do nothing crazy I don't like, I'll still grab at least one of your shoes. Because at the end of the day, forget basketball, sports, whatever, rapping, you're still a black man with opportunity and a product.
Yeah.
And if you seem to be somewhat a dope human being and talented, I'll go support that. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
And that's so that's how my approach is.
I mean, I'm gonna just say, hopefully, he changes his perspective.
Yeah,
I don't want to use the term like changes his mind because I just feel like when you say that, you make it seem like should be a flip of the switch, like to want to be in a child's life. I think exactly what you said is. I look at my daughter as like I never thought I'd have a kid, like ever, like just even thinking about it. So to have a child, and even from in
it's
his
hard to have a kid.
For him, what I don't understand is he's terrible. What I don't understand from Anthony Edwards' perspective, I would say is you have the means of being able to take care of this child that most
don't.
Exactly. Like most, if there are people that are, they get in a situation where they have a child outside of a marriage or outside of a relationship, at that point, that probably is a real sticky, tight situation where you're like, okay, well, how am I going to be able to navigate through life? How am I going to be able to move through things that I want to be able to accomplish? How am I going to be able to take care of this child on top of dealing with my responsibilities in the home that I've probably messed everything up in?
Yeah.
He in a position where I'm not gonna say it's okay, but you're in a position where you can navigate it a lot easier than most people can. Like, I
Even
look
if you
at,
take half, you're still a millionaire, my G.
yeah,
so.
exactly. Like I think about every athlete that I can think of that's got like multiple children. I guess like I think of like Chad Ochocinco, right? Like he's got multiple children, different babies' mothers. He's in his child's lives. Like I mean, at least from what we see.
Yeah.
But like it's just. I don't see why you're gonna push away and be like, I'm not gonna have nothing to do with that child.
And too, though, you got even from a peer standpoint, because as an NBA player, your image is what helps sell, gives you your endorsement deals and your contract, right? As a person, right?
We just talked about
so
that.
It's just like when you see your peers who got shoes, Ja Morant, very father affectionate with his daughter, shows his daughter out, right? Then you got Deion Sanders coaching his sons on every level, right? You got LeBron getting his son on the team and doing what he's doing for Bronny and Bryce and Zuri, right? Then, excuse me, Michael Jordan when he's doing with Marcus and all the rest of his kids, right? It's like it's
Kobe with
his daughter,
kid,
right?
His daughters.
So it's even more glaring when you got kids, Draymond, Steph bringing their kids to press conference and stuff, right? So it's more glaring when you go that route. It makes you look even 10 times worse when you're in the field with everybody showcasing the enjoyment of fatherhood.
Yeah.
100%.
Real quick, I just want to add, I'm going to wrap this show up. It's crazy to me, and I know, we're talking about athletes, but it's crazy to me because the news just broke, like Eminem became a grandfather or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, one of the things I loved about him is he has his daughter, which is a special relationship in itself, but then he took care of the other two kids that weren't even his. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's so like to step up, to see something like that where a man is stepping up to be a father to kids that's not even his, and you don't want to be one to the one that you made, like it's I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like it just bothers me. But anyway, this is episode 330.
I think it's 330
for last year.
I think it's
334. Hopefully I can have this up later this week because I'm about to just start knocking them out. But anyway.
You don't do nothing else at work, so.
Smart ass motherfucker!
Shout out to Bob and Randy, Detroit Podcast & Co. Episode 334. We out. Peace.